following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lord. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Now, your hosts, Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, Everson Walls, and Bill Jones.
Everson Walls official.
Everson Walls
Officially joining Talkin Cowboys.
All I need is a badge now so I can stop getting stopped at the door.
And that's coming today.
Sir,
but you got cookies.
Yes, sir, you are. They give me the Heisman every morning.
Welcome to the show, Everson, Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, filling in for Bill Jones.
How do you get your name first? That's what I want to know. Why are you first?
Because I invented this show.
Oh, excuse me. Rob, you have anything to say about that?
He's kind of right about that,
Okay.
but that's kind of a flex, Mick. Welcome into Talkin Cowboys. It's a Blue Friday for sure. Cowboys lose to the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field last night, 31-24. We're here with you for the next 45 minutes. A lot to unpack. A lot of frustration from the fan base, and guys, that's warranted. Jerry Jones is frustrated. We just heard him on the fan with his weekly Friday hit, and there's just a lot of disappointment, a lot of frustration inside this building right now, and outside this building. Cowboys at 6-7. Everson, they still have a half-game lead in this division, but it's the second 3-game losing streak of the season.
Wow,
it's
that's
really
wow. I did not know that.
It's really hard to believe,
Wow.
isn't it, that they're at this point right now?
It feels like it's a beautiful day outside. I mean, it's a beautiful day. It's a Friday. TGIF. I feel like a Monday and feel like it's storming outside. So like that's the way my body feels right now. That's the body language. This is bad.
That's because you just watched a nightmare last night.
Well, it reminds me, this team, this feeling reminds me of '83. The Rams took us out. I think that was in the cold end zone. It was one of the coldest games at Texas Stadium. Ice in the end zone. Here come the L.A. Rams. If I'm not mistaken, Dickerson comes in and runs for almost 200 yards.
Actually, that was the second time.
That was the second time?
The 85 game.
But no, 85.
He went
85,
243.
Right, but before that, that was 83 when there was ice in the end zone. And what I mean is the comparison is that season.
Yeah.
Woo, we started off hot.
Yeah.
Like 7-0. And we just couldn't be stopped in anything that we did, and we were the best, I think, 12-4 team. I think we had going into the playoffs, and we didn't feel it. Mm-hmm. You couldn't feel it. If you wouldn't know from in the stands. It was a home game. Everyone was cold. We played like we were cold, like we never got out of warm-ups. And besides the first drive of the last two games, that's the only promise. That's the only promise this team has had is 2 drives, just 2 drives. Those are the ones. That's the only norm that we have at this point for this Cowboys team, not just offensively. I'm thinking for this Cowboy team. Period.
Yeah, it was. You sat there and watched it, and you're going, okay, at some point this is going to kick in. It's going to kick in. And then it's like getting ready to start the fourth quarter, and you're going, no, this is not going to kick in. This is just
we knew
not
way
gonna
before
happen.
the fourth quarter that it's not kicking in.
Gosh, it was just. Defensively, they couldn't get off the field.
That's our norm. This is our norm right now.
And they had at one point they finished 7 of 12 on third down, but the last 3 that they didn't convert, that was in the fourth quarter when all they were doing is running clock and let's run 3 times and punt. Right?
Well, they were 6 of 15 third down.
6 of 15
and started 4 for 4 on that. I thought it was the best drive they had the entire
17,
season.
Did I hear? Was
17 plays.
17 plays.
Almost 9 minutes off the clock. Great mix of run and pass, 10 runs, 6 passes, no penalties, touchdown, and it's ever since I wrote it last night, it was like Thanksgiving 2.0. They have this great first drive, and you think, all right, they've got it going. They
used all the plays on the first drive.
Oh, you
showed your entire game plan
basically
on the first drive. You had to.
It was the longest possession they had all season, 17 plays.
It's got to be one of the tops in the league.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
Year. Yeah.
No, I was referring to the Bears' third down conversion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mick. I'm sorry.
And at one point,
I'm on 2 hours sleep.
They were at one point they were 7 of 9. And it was one after another, after another, after another, and it didn't matter what the down and distance were. They could not get off the field. Players, game plan. I mean, you point a finger at everything because the Bears had this defense figured out. And after the game, when I spoke with Rod Marinelli, he's kind of a stand-up guy, and he blamed himself. He said, my bad 100%.
Nah.
He goes, they're not listening to me. I'm not getting through to them. But, at some point, you got to go out and play.
That's very noble.
That's what I wrote,
coach.
as a matter of fact.
Yeah, very noble.
Very noble.
I love that in old school coaches. But the accountability, as I've always said, I just have to look at the players.
Yeah.
I just have to look at the players. Whatever defense you're putting them in, that's the defense that you've run all year long. That's the defense you ran last year, the defense you ran the year before that. And it seems as if we are just learning it, and that's what's scary. So now all of a sudden you look at all these numbers that we keep talking about, the score itself, numbers by Dak offensively, just really the entire offense. Maybe the numbers for defense may have looked good. They might still be number 7 in the league.
That's what's amazing is these stats. Number 1 offense, too, in terms of yards per game, but they're not turning into points.
It doesn't mean jack.
Yeah, because they ended up, with the garbage time stuff, 408 yards of offense.
What does that remind you of? That reminds you of the Romo years when he's just, slinging it down the field. We put ourselves in trouble with early turnovers, and then here comes Romo with numbers out of this world, but it doesn't really indicate just how bad we may have played even in the passing game alone. So this is that time of year. This team is showing me that they just don't have any continuity or seems like belief in anything that they're doing.
And one thing that happens when your defense plays the way they played is you end up taking Ezekiel Elliott out of the game
twice now.
You can't keep handing him the ball. He had 72 yards in the first half.
Wow.
And he finished with 81.
Really running the ball well.
Yeah.
And 2 games in a row, he's got back to some explosive runs, and some of that's a credit, to the offensive line creating some holes for him, which hasn't always been the case. I don't think in the running game, consistently. They'll tell you that. But yeah, I think he had 2 carries in the second half against Buffalo and 6 in the second half last night. And Stephen Jones preached balance to us in the pregame show, and it just goes out the window when you find yourself down 17-7 and then 24-7. And Mick, we talked about this on the plane last night. You mentioned what Rod said about the defense. It's been kind of the same thing we talked about when they've struggled defensively this year in terms of they're this up the field defense, Everson, and they're aggressive and they come at you, and teams have been able to counter that with the screens and the swing passes and getting the tight ends involved, and it's just been used against them. And it happened again.
I have been, this is our job to try and find out what the problem is.
Right.
So I've been trying to find the problem. If I want to look at one group defensively, I was talking with a buddy of mine, and he said, by the way, secondary. And I couldn't agree with that. Even though we're not getting the turnovers and things of that nature, we're not just getting toasted up and down the field. That's just not the way we're playing right now. I've always talked about, even though lack of interceptions, we got very athletic DBs. We know that. But that's not the problem on this team. I remember going back to the Vikings game, and I try and compare it to what I know. And what I know is when I was on the number 1 defense in the NFL, 1990 Giants, played the same defense we have here now. You have the linebackers in the bubble. We had 2 guys that in the winter in Jersey, Pepper Johnson and Steve Giassi, that pretty much, been drinking all night, heavy, it might be a little heavy. They ate all night. So they're going to come in. They're not losing weight this time of year. They're going to come in there around 265, almost 270, depending on what they ate last night, okay? And when they hit that guard, when they hit those exposed offensive linemen, it's a stalemate. There's nowhere for you to go. Barry Sanders, nowhere. We had running backs running scared. With just LT just being over there was enough. But I noticed that the philosophy was to have a quick read from those offensive linemen. And when they come off that line, we are going to meet them with violent force. Mm-hmm. And Diassi and Pepper Johnson and Gary Reasons, they did that. When I looked at ours, totally different defense. It's like watching a lion versus cheetah. We have cheetahs as linebackers. And when you take away those cheetahs' legs, they got nothing. They can't do anything without the legs. Okay? It's like watching the flex defense get taken over by the Washington Redskins when zone blocking made it obsolete. Mm-hmm. Whatever we're doing, we're taking ourselves out of every running defense. The strength of every running defense. We're getting gashed because our linebackers are not stepping up and creating that resistance at the line of scrimmage that we need. I don't care if you're getting cut off when they're trying to run outside the tackle or even between the tackles when they're sometimes coming at their legs, and sometimes they're just so big. I mean, that's the problem you deal with all the time. Mm-hmm. It's nothing new. You got 300-pound linemen. You have to use what you use. Nate always says, same thing, make you laugh, make you cry. Mm-hmm. If you got a big offensive lineman right there, you better be quicker than him. You better beat him to the punch. We're not doing that. And what they're doing, same thing, make you laugh, make you cry. Fast, quick, how can I call it, fidgety. We almost have fidgety linebackers. They're always ready to run. They're always ready to go. Well, yeah, they're quick to go. And then when you go too fast, then here comes the screen passes. And then here comes the draw plays. Or
the quarterback keeper. And I think if you just look at the touchdown run that Trubisky had, 23 yards, I thought this was emblematic of how the defense played. They had a play fake to Cohen going to their right. And DeMarcus Lawrence crashed down the line of scrimmage as hard as he could. Well, Cohen didn't have the football, and Trubisky went left, and there was nobody there. The linebackers did the same thing. They start chasing, and I think that was maybe the best tangible explanation Jason had after the game is that we're not disciplined.
We're desperate.
It's like everybody's trying to save the day.
We are desperate.
Instead of playing in coordination. And look, Trubisky had run for 81 yards in 12 games. He went 10 for 63 in this game.
But it's been a problem
and
beyond that.
It's right?
Driscoll.
Driscoll did it. Name the quarterback.
Josh Allen on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
of course,
absolutely,
yeah, no doubt.
And so they've had trouble with these quarterbacks who gonna keep, but they're using their aggressiveness against them because they're trying to get up the field, use their speed, like you talked about.
One thing that you have to have is poise. You just have to have it, especially this time of year. And when you're in panic mode, that is not going to happen. I've been there, 87, 86. We had that, this is the game, 84, when we didn't make it in 84.
Right.
There was certain games we needed. We couldn't stop the Redskins. They came into our house and blew us out. They came in camo gear. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
So, been there, done that. That's why I know what the problems are. At this point, everyone is out of position. No one trusts the person next to them. Because even though you're aggressive defensively, there's still an organized chaos you have to deal with. There's still gaps that regardless of how much you do, what you do and how fast you're coming off the line, there are certain keys that are going to tell you, okay, hold up. I got to be careful. Wait, I see that now. Mm-hmm. These are the kind of things, as much as you talk about LT being the great athletic player that he was, by the time Belichick was done with him, that finished product, he was that organized chaos guy. He knew he could see the tips. He could see it. The keys were right there for him, and he believed them. He played against the Cowboys one time. He played so well. That was Jimmy's first year, Jimmy and Jerry's first year. He said everything looked so easy. He thought they were fakes. He thought everything was a trick. I mean, we were horrible. We were horrible. We didn't do anything that game. Jimmy pretty much cursed me out after that game because he thought it was my fault. And it just lets you know, guys like that can put pressure on everyone. Positions like this is putting pressure on everyone. Everyone's doing either too much or not enough. Going the wrong direction. not reading the signs. So there's paranoia, okay? There's doubt. You can see the doubt in how we play.
Tackling in the open field was an issue. Jason Garrett expounded a little bit on what you guys were saying this morning when he said, we're not a defense that's going to give you a variety of different things necessarily. It's they've got those Seattle principles where Seattle's defense historically they kind of do what they do, and it's a very discipline-based defense. And when you get outside of that, and he hadn't watched the tape yet, but that's what happens. They struggle there.
Well, think about this. When you look at so Trubisky ends up throwing for 244 yards. He completed 23 passes, right? And this wasn't out of reading or whatever. This was the game plan. 13 of those 23 completions were to running backs, tight end, fullback.
What does that tell you?
So they were saying, okay,
exploiting the linebackers.
Right, exactly. And they targeted Jalen Smith. They don't think he can cover. Now, he had the one possession where he broke up the ball in the end zone, but they kept coming there, right? So their plan was, we're attacking him. We're going to make him cover. And I think we knew going into this season that was one of his weaknesses. He's better going forward than he is going backwards. And I always thought when they got in that situation, especially in nickel, that it would be Leighton Vander Esch and Sean Lee on that nickel. Well, now it's him and Joe Thomas. They miss Vander Esch. They miss his athleticism. His size. And he could run with those guys, right? These guys can't run. The tight end, I didn't even know who their tight end was.
Well, they're banged up at tight end. Holtz is down their depth chart.
And some guy named Holtz is catching the ball. I thought it was the guy I went to college with, Randy Holtz. And I was like, what is this guy doing?
3 catches for 56 yards and a 30-yard screen catch and run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that screen pass, it was just ridiculous.
And so... you look at the final stats for the Cowboys, speaking of DBs, Everson, Darion Thompson, who's filling in for Jeff Heath, another guy I think they miss in terms of run defense. He finishes with 9 tackles, and that's not what you want to see from your defense.
Well, it depends on where he's making those tackles.
True.
And where he's designated to field. If he's designated to be up and forcing as a strong safety type, then that's great. But if he's your free safety, that's way too many tackles.
Actually, he spent most of the time on the line of scrimmage. They were playing single safety high the majority of the time with Woods deep, and he was lining up because a couple of times I thought they had gone dime. I go, it's like, 23, it's the safety. He's up on the line of scrimmage. We got a couple of turnovers. Yeah.
They did win the turnover battle, did they not?
You know what? Unfortunately, it would have been better to let them score a touchdown than they intercept the ball at the half-yard line. Because it did not show up the field at all.
No. Matter of fact, it extended the field
and basically what it did was they went 3 and out, punted, and they got the ball back at the 50-yard line.
Which is great, yeah.
So, and then it came down and scored.
The field position game is still the same.
I thought about you when I was like Murphy's Law with you get a takeaway.
Finally
and then,
get a takeaway at the half-yard line.
But field positions flipped, and then a kick out of bounds late in the game that leads to a touchdown for Chicago 3 plays later. I think the Bears' average starting position was the 40-yard line. There just wasn't really anything about this game that they could hang their hat on that they had success doing.
After the first drive, we seemed like an entirely different team offensively. That's pretty scary. Cowboys have been trying, and I know Pollard being out really didn't help at all. But we talk about Zeke. As we run Zeke in the first half, I could imagine the game plan is, okay, we run him in the first half. He's doing well. He's controlling the pace. Defensively, we're not making it happen. Okay, let's change it up. Let's get him in space.
Yeah.
So now they've been trying to get him out in space. They're trying to use Zeke as much as possible because he's not really breaking that 50-yarder like we're accustomed to, and like a lot of other backs who are not even better than him are having the opportunity to do. So they're trying to create that for him, and they just can't seem to get on the same page. It seems like when he and Dak are, they cannot connect. It's like trying to connect with Gallup early in the year or something.
The 30-yard run that he had,
it was 31 yards.
31, that was his longest run of the season.
And he had a 30-yarder on Thanksgiving. He's hitting those explosive plays, but again, he's taken out of the game basically in the second half.
The defense won't allow him to be effective.
Defense, I said it before the game. Now look at these. Other than the weather assist in New England when you held them to 13 points, it's 28, 27, 26, 31. You can't expect your offense, and you knew this was going to be difficult going against that Chicago defense. So you knew you weren't going to score 30 points. You can't have to score 30 points every game to win, and that's the kind of the situation they've been in.
Your defense has to match the opposition's defense,
and they did. They needed to step up, and you knew there was going to be hard sledding.
Yes.
They're good. They're good. I give it to them.
And Buffalo's defense is a top 10 defense, and New England's been at a historical level. So your point's well made.
And and the worst part is
look at what we have though.
I know.
I'm so tired of hearing about what everybody else has.
That's fair.
What we have this a bit established coaching staff. The head coach has been in place for a while. There's been a little bit of shuffling going on underneath. Players themselves been locked down contract-wise. I mean, come on. We're supposed to be the ones that they're saying, man, these guys have this, they have this. They're a good team. They just came in and beat us. Well, why are we saying that all the time?
And
you're speaking to the fan right now.
They played without two of their starting players, two of their better starting players. Their top corner basically was out. And they had to play a backup that hadn't played very much, Tolliver, and then Danny Trevathan, one of their linebackers, he's out, and they had to play. What was the guy? I couldn't pronounce his name. Kitwowski or something like that.
Well, okay, but I got
somebody you never heard of, right?
Right. Just one last thing. I know we're belaboring the point. I just want to dump on them just a little bit more. It doesn't take a team full of superstars to beat a team full of superstars. It just takes a heck of a team. That's all it takes.
That's a good track to get back to when we come back from break. I want to touch on that more when we come back. We'll continue breaking down Cowboys losing to the Bears 31-24 from Thursday night next on Talkin Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheered.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One score September 2019.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
The Oklahoma Sooners and Baylor Bears will face off in the Big 12 championship game on Saturday, December 7th at AT&T Stadium. Bill Jones not here to tell us about it, break it down, but kickoff will be at 11 a.m. Don't miss your opportunity to get tickets before they sell out. They're on sale now at SeatGeek.com.
Can't wait for that game. Yeah, I cannot wait for that game.
It'll be a good one.
I want to see what these Baylor Bears are going to do. Are they really up to the task?
Right? See if that defense plays against Oklahoma and make sure they play like the fourth quarter, too, this time.
I want to see what Hurt does against this vengeful defense.
Well, not a good result last night in Chicago. The score doesn't really tell the story. 31-24, Bears beat the Cowboys. They dropped to 6-7 on the season. They still got a half-game lead over Philly, but obviously there's a lot to clean up. And Everson, you were saying before the break that complimentary football is something Dak Prescott has talked about. Everybody's talked about. They haven't put the complete games together. As a player, when you've been in these situations in your career, what's the confidence level or the mindset? I know you can't get into these guys' heads, but how do you try to rally from something like this where it just seems like nothing's going your way and you can't find any traction here?
I was thinking about that this morning coming here because obviously they need a turnaround. They need something. And I could see me, Mr. Optimism here. I could clearly see that there's going to be a moment, and I know that's what the positive people, the optimistic people are thinking about now, such as myself. If they're going to do anything this year, there's going to have to be a moment to where they pull that together. You know, that drive that starting drive that you had, there's going to have to be a moment to where you take that energy level, that success, and put it to a more, important part of the game, more critical part of the game. A nice 2-minute drive, a drive after 2 minutes would be great to where we needed it. It either puts us ahead or ties us for a game. I think just one moment like that could change everything. Fourth down stance. That would change everything. I truly believe that.
Something big that can swing momentum and get some confidence back because they don't seem like a confident group. I mean, I'm sure I know they believe in their abilities, but it's just this thing has kind of been an avalanche.
Talked about it. They don't believe in themselves as a team. That's totally different. Because, like you said, they're out of position. Guys are crashing down, he's not really trying to be the hero. It's just instinctive right now because everyone's in panic mode. And so you're sitting here thinking, well, man, we should be doing this and we should be doing that. Don't worry about what you should be doing. Don't worry about the contract you just signed. Don't worry about what you're looking forward to. Quinn's got the sacks. He's got his bonus coming. All of that, it means nothing right now.
Right.
You understand? So here you've got teams that have our game plan down. But obviously after the first drive, we have a game plan down. They know where we're going. They know our tendencies. Okay? They know the players themselves' tendencies. They're doubling people at the right time. They're playing zone at the right time. They're controlling what we're trying to do. They're the ones, even after the first drive, there's no panic from the opposition. They feel like the game is still in their hands because they're going up against our defense. And I don't care how many superstars you got. I don't care how many contracts you sign. I can take a solid defense, play a Tampa 2 zone, and shut down. I've done it. Well, I've been on a team that's done it. We shut down one of the greatest offenses in history, San Francisco 49ers, in San Francisco, because we had a great system that could shut down Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Joe Montana, Steve, I don't care who it is, because it's still a team game, guys. You cannot get past that. We can tout all these Mahomes, which I get tired of that. We're putting one guy, we have to market this guy. He's got to be the face of this. A defensive lineman can make a bigger difference in the game than Amari Cooper, a D lineman that you've never heard of. Okay, so superstars are great. It looks good with the numbers. The problem that you have is putting it on the field with the other guys that you have to play with and depend on. So you depend on them. They're just not out there for dressing. You depend on them for you to be successful.
And when you look at this thing, and I understand that they had a couple empty possessions early in the game, but it's 10-7, all right? And they drove, and you held them to a field goal.
Yep.
So the next possession, the Cowboys marched downfield. They got 1st and 10 at the Chicago 30-yard line. It's 3rd and 4 at the 24, right? They got a great play call, right? It's going to be, I'm sending the fullback out, and he's going to act like he's going to run a wheel route, or if he sees the linebacker playing off, stop, and I'm going to throw you the pass. Mm-hmm. Well, he threw him the pass, but Wally kept running. and now you practice that play all week, right? Yeah. And
there's certain keys where you and that receiver have to be in tune. You have to be in tune.
And how many times do they throw him the ball? Not very many times, right? So it was another one of those things where if something could go wrong, it went wrong. Because normally, probably in that situation, they might have had Pollard in the game, right?
That's very true.
Got a sprained ankle, can't play. So now, all right, it's a 42-yard field goal. You're going to tie the game 10-10. You're talking about those moments where something happens good in the game and you feel good about yourself. And he misses. He misses wide right.
Didn't you feel like it took the air out of the balloon right there?
Well, yeah, because then they came right back down the field and scored and made it 17-7. And they scored with 3 seconds to go in the half. You know, if it was 10-7 at halftime, now they're getting the ball again, right? You would say, okay, I'm cool. I can handle this. I got outplayed, but I'm still in the ball game. And then you let them take the next possession. So they scored basically in 2 possessions. They scored 14 points. And now it's like 24-7. Now you're like, okay, I'm in panic mode. I got to just get out of my game plan. We got to sling it around. And they don't need Dak throwing the ball 49 times.
And the problem is, the players can say, just like the fans, like, man, deja vu.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
we just did this, right?
Yeah, we keep doing this.
That was Buffalo all over again.
Yes. So you could, we're fans. We're feeling it. But as players, you just when things like that become consistent, you've got to have doubt.
Yeah. And for Bret Maher, that's his 10th miss of the season. He's missed at least 1 field goal in 8 of 13 games this year. And look, they worked out 3 kickers during the week. I don't think those tryouts really caught their eye, and they stuck with him, and it didn't work out.
Let's give him another chance. Yeah. The wind's not blowing outside. Let's give him another shot.
I mean, in the last 5 games, he's 9 of 14. I don't know what that percentage comes to, but it's probably somewhere around 65%.
And see,
you got to be hitting at 80.
And those numbers to me are surprisingly good. I didn't know they were that high. Because it's the moments that are more important than his numbers.
Yes.
That's always the case.
I mean, it's like you can sit here and go, oh, man, he made a 63-yard field goal. Okay, that's fine. But when you're now 1 of 5 from 40 yards out, 40 to 49, it's like, well, who cares about the 63-yarder, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That makes that accomplishment just disappear. And their guy was in the same boat, but he hit his 40-some-yard field goal.
What do you think they do? Because we know there's not a lot out there.
I mean,
they've said that.
Where do you go? But I don't know. Did you just bring somebody in to say, well, can it be any worse? You
have to get a guy. I would try and get a guy, not as old as Vinatieri, but
Eddie Murray's not out there anymore.
A veteran guy who is going to hit the 40-yarders and 45-yarders consistently. The long ones, I love it. I'd bring in Jones to try and do a long one if I had to, okay? We've seen it happen. A punter goes out there and just does something amazing. But I want the consistent guy, Matt Barr, 1990. Man, Parcells loved that guy.
Yeah.
I've been with great kicker, Raphael Septien. That's the kicker I know. I'm accustomed to these kind of amazing, consistent guys. You won't see him hitting a bunch of 50-yarders. But that 45-yarder is going to be right, as he said, right down the middle. He said the middle.
So Jason told a funny story on the walk-off the other day talking about in 93 when they were struggling with the kicker and they had a workout. And he said, so we worked out like 3 guys. And he goes, I was the holder. And he goes, the first 2 guys, and it's like, well, how do you like the ball? It's like, well, I'd like it a little bit this way or a little bit this way. They were real particular. Mm-hmm. And then Eddie Murray came in for his turn, and he said, how do you like the ball? He goes, just get it down.
Yeah, I love it.
Just get it down.
Yeah, I love it. And see, that's old school.
And he ends up winning that game against the Giants in 93, the last game of the season with the winning field goal in overtime. Those guys just don't – I mean, they're not out there, these veteran guys. I mean, look at what New England's gone through after losing Gostkowski.
Yeah, there's reports they might sign Nick Folk back if he's healthy today. So
he had an appendectomy.
Yeah, so
and
they've been
that's
in a
the
mess.
Cowboys. I figured he was out of the league, right? That he's still kicking, and they brought in another guy.
I couldn't believe it when I saw him in the game. I couldn't believe it.
It's one of many issues they're having right now. No question about it.
But do you send a message? It's like, okay, he's not doing his job.
That's what I was thinking about this morning.
And now everybody else wakes up and go, oh, okay.
I was thinking about that this morning.
But unfortunately, with some of the contracts they have, the messages aren't, you can't do that.
Let's take our final break. Let's talk a little bit about what Jerry has said last night and today to wrap things up when we come back on Talkin' Cowboys.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team. Get yours today in the Stadium Pro Shop or at Stetson.com.
Okay, give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheered.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One Score, September 2019.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
So, you're shopping, and that's when you see it. Aisle 23. Dr. Pepper stacked from top to bottom as far as the eye can see. The phrase too good to be true comes to mind, yet there it is. A rich, delicious Dr. Pepper paradise. Wait, did that can of Dr. Pepper just open itself for you? They all are. As if to say, so nice to treat you. And even though it feels weird to talk to a can, you pick one up and say, it's so nice to be treated. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Ho, ho, holiday jackpot.
Wow.
Go to getjackblack.com, and if you spend $75 or more with your purchase, you'll get a free 15-piece holiday jackpot. Jackpot? Jack
Yeah.
Black?
There you go.
There we go. And
Whatever.
if you use
Sounds
the
good.
code jackpot, then you will get 15 pieces of holiday jackpot. So go to getjackblack.com.
Do you write that yourself?
No, it's right here.
Oh.
He's kind of mixing and matching the copy
He's
there.
trying to improv.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done well in Chicago at Second City, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I was reading an interesting story about how it got started and how the guys that started acting there, all the people when SNL got going, they took improv classes on how to just improvisation stuff. And I said, I figured just people knew how to do it, right? But they kind of taught them to. It's in a little Chicago atmosphere there since we were there for a day and a half.
And walked in at 4 a.m., so I'll give you a break on the liner. A couple flubs, but you did fine.
I think...
Yeah, always flubs. I mean, we expect the flubs. I mean, that's your charm.
Right.
That's your charm.
That is part
That's
of the
your charm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, recapping. Bears, Cowboys, 31-24. Chicago wins. We
Not that close either. by the way.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
We got a couple minutes left in the show. Kyle, could you roll some Jerry Jones audio postgame for us?
We've got to start showing our fans, more importantly, showing ourselves that we can do the things to win the games. It's hard to do it when you extend their possessions and you make mistakes on third down. It's hard to do it when you either create penalties. It's hard to do it when you miss field goals that have, the last two games have shown up. We got down near the end and looked up and we had a chance, potentially, but we'd really had a chance both the last two games if we'd kicked our field goal. Well, that's if stuff, and we know that is. We're not playing well enough to actually get close enough so at the end of the game we could actually tie one at the last minute or win it at the last minute.
Thanks, Kyle. That was as frustrated as I've seen Mr. Jones after a game in a while. And he was on the Fan this morning. He said it starts with me as the GM, owner of the team. I think he said something to the effect, Mick, that sound you hear across the Metroplex, that's me screaming in my pillow.
Yes, and among other things too. By the way,
Yep. It's a tough day. It's a tough moment, tough stretch for this team right now. And how do they dig out of it is the question. And
well, they're going to get 9 days to think about it.
Oh my goodness!
Maybe heal up a little bit.
That's good
torture.
or bad?
That is bad.
That's bad, right?
You got to think about. You have to think about how pitiful you are for quite some time. Not just the 1 week that you're accustomed to. Now you get to watch everybody this weekend, and you watch the Saints, and you watch these good teams that are just hitting their stride, and you look at you sit there and you go, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
I mean, you're good. They're going to have 10 days of that. Even when practice starts, they'll probably be glad to get back to practice. But
when I did the pregame radio interview with Jason, one of the questions I asked him, I said, when you played on Thanksgiving, so now on Sunday we get to watch other teams play, right? Really good teams. So was it Minnesota?
Mm-hmm.
Who did Minnesota won?
I'm drawing a blank right now.
Anyway, it was a really good game, and there were plays, and I think I mentioned this last week. There were plays like guys were wide open.
That was when Minnesota came back. Yeah, they came back. It was an exciting game, but sloppily played. Yes.
And my question to him was, it's like nobody's perfect out there, even the good teams, but you got to overcome your imperfections. You got to overcome your adversity. And this team has not been able to do that all season long. When they've had adversity, it seems like, when they come out like they did the first 3 games, boom, 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 go down and score, okay, this is great, right? But when adversity hit, they have not been able to overcome it, and they have not been able to win.
They have a term for that,
game.
Right?
What's that?
Front runners.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah.
But one thing they were able to do last year, but 3-5, they handled the adversity and they won close games, Everson, where it wasn't always going well. Haven't done that this year, and that's they find themselves at 6-7 and trying to dig out of this thing with 3 games to play, and still. Unbelievably, the NFC East title still within their grasp.
I told you, circle that game 15, Cowboys at Philadelphia.
December 22nd, but
it's going to decide everything.
10-day break, and then the Rams after that. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, my God.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. We hope it helped. Thanks, Kyle, for producing, for Everson, for Mick.
Hope it helped. That's
the Rams, dude.
We'll talk to you guys on Monday. The break is next.
Hope you feel better.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?